Welcome to the F2FHQ podcast. I'm your
Thank you.
host, Carol Salva of the Firearms Radio Network. In this podcast, we are chronicling our journeys from fat to fit. We talk about pursuing a healthier lifestyle, not only in diet, but in all areas of life. And today, I have a guest with me. I almost said, along with me is Micky Francis, but I forgot, and then I didn't want to have to edit, so I didn't do that.
It's all good.
How are you
Thank you
doing,
so much.
Micky?
Doing great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited that you're here. I'm going to tell people listening that you and I, we went through my Fitness Pal messaging back and forth like about a month ago. Am I remembering right that's how I met you?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but it was such a good rapport. You had the exact same questions that I had that I was like, oh, Micky, you just have to come on the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm just excited and a little nervous, but it's good. And
It's all good. It's
yeah.
all good. I always try to forget that anybody in the world could be listening or watching right now.
Right.
Just forget all that.
Okay.
No, really.
No pressure.
I do what?
No pressure.
No. And I should have had you read the intro, but I didn't. I think you're kind of a new listener, so
That's right.
I know. So I had the old timers that have been with us a while do that because they kind of have it memorized. But anyway,
Gotcha.
but no, we're excited. We're super excited to have you because I think you're going to have a great perspective. Our show focus today, you and I talked about it'd be great to do a show for people who, just because there's so much information out there,
Mhm.
just to kind of talk about how the average person might navigate all this crazy amount of information, right?
Right.
So let
Well,
me introduce you just real quickly, and then we'll get into that because
okay.
I did ask you to give me more about your background, but I knew you were a trainer, and I knew you had success working with people. So yeah, we're going to chat about that kind of stuff, but I want to make sure that I introduce you correctly. You're from Athens, right?
That's correct.
Athens,
Georgia.
Wisconsin?
Georgia.
Oh, gosh, I'm way off. Okay, so
It's all good.
Athens, Georgia. Well, you're much closer to me in Texas. Okay, so you're an Athens resident, but Athens is close to Watkinsville? Is that like
That's
a
right.
metroplex where there's two? How big are
Watkinsville,
those cities?
Madison, they're smaller cities around here, and then Atlanta is about an hour away. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're outside of Atlanta, about an hour.
Right.
But you've been a fitness professional for like almost a decade, right?
Almost. Yeah,
Yeah?
I've been doing personal training pretty much, and just recently getting to nutrition. So, and recently came across a bunch of different podcasts. So I spent a lot of time driving. So it's a good way to spend the time listening and learning. So definitely
Right?
been
It's a
fun.
free
Yeah,
education,
yeah,
depending
it's
who
good.
you listen to.
That's true. There's a lot out there. So
Well, that
trying to
is
figure out what works for somebody, and it could work great for one person, and and for you it might not work. Just
exactly.
so.
Exactly. That's the thing is that I know you told me you train like moms, you train writers, you train teachers, you train athletes. I mean, every kind of person, and you've had a lot of success helping people drop body fat but you also train like elite athletes where you do maybe something specific, something different for them. Is that right?
Right, right. So just depends on the person, what their goals are, and a lot of people that I'm working with recently are more just overall, just want to get healthier, just want to get or drop a few pounds, or have a specific goal. Like I've got a wedding to go to, so I'm trying to get ready for that. So it's been quite a journey. Another cool thing is like getting to work with a lot of the elderly people right from the very beginning. From when I got into it, I got to learn a lot about, okay, well, I can't work on their shoulder possibly the same way as I would with, so
Wow.
got to learn a lot early on about working around certain things or helping them being able to have more range of motion and just quality of life, improving that, or working on improving that.
That
So,
is interesting. We did a whole show with about that with and I'd have to put a link in the show notes to that show, because we're on a firearms radio network, and
That's right.
a lot of our folks, once you get older, even not that much older, and you start having issues with joints and things like
Hmm.
that. And fitness kind of plays into that, keeping yourself limber, keeping yourself active so that you can, even if it's just because you want to stay proficient with your
Right.
hobby of, with your firearms and things like
Right.
that. But the elderly, and I say the elderly, I consider myself part of that. I'm serious, because things are not the same as they used to be. I can't just go kill it like when I was younger. I wish I would have wanted to back then, but even if I want to now, I'm going to make some unwise choices maybe.
Right.
So I like that you have a focus on that.
Well, it's definitely been fun, and this like it's fun when you hear clients tell you just their daily successes.
Yeah.
Like, I got on the plane and I picked up my own luggage and I put it up myself. I didn't have to have someone else trying to help me do that. And you know, it's cool, small things like that. Or some people that are like working with the saddles on their horses and they're able to do that themselves. And it's the strength gains there that they feel good that they can do it themselves. They feel that they don't have to rely on someone else, and
Heck
it's neat.
yeah.
And so
Heck
those are
yeah.
the kind of small success stories that I like. And like,
Absolutely.
oh, I got up without having to use a pew in front of me, and I can just stand up now and just sit back down, and it's no issue. I mean, because I have the balance, I have the control and the strength, and that's what's really cool about my job.
Well, what a gift you're giving people, because I mean, it sounds like small things, like you said, but it's really not. I mean, first of all, luggage is heavy. I mean,
Right,
we're talking really about functional training, right? For
right,
life. When you
right,
can stand up and sit down by yourself without being
right,
assisted, I mean, I don't care how old you are, sometimes you don't feel like you can do that as easily,
right,
depending on how in shape you are. And luggage to put up over your head, it's the same as weights in the gym. I mean, wouldn't we want to be more um, focused on what you can do for life? And I can imagine that when you're not able to do those things, your saddle, that kind of stuff, like you said, for your life,
right.
that's all awesome. So rock on. Good for you. I
Thank
bet you
you.
get a lot of satisfaction. But you said you also train like local celebrities. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's like just recently I got to work with one of the ladies that was doing um I forget what it's called. It's Dancing with the Stars. So I got
Really?
to like, but it's Dancing with the Stars locally. So it's like,
Oh, y'all
like
have
they
a
have one in
local Dancing with
Athens.
the
They have
Stars?
one in Athens and they have one in Greensboro,
How
or they just
fun.
recently had one in Greensboro. So I got to train one of the people for that, and we only had like 6 weeks, so it was fun, and she's pretty much made it a habit now, and I still see her in the gym coming regularly, and it's fun. It's
Yeah,
kind of
you're
neat
loving your
stuff like
job.
that. So
You're
yeah.
loving your job. How much fun is that? Well, I'm going to have all kinds of stuff in the show notes about how to get a hold of you and your phone number. Do you do anything online, or are you thinking about doing anything online?
Um, Currently I'm not. Stay pretty busy between, but I think if somebody is interested, sure, I'd be open to it and
Okay,
see how I can
okay.
help with that.
I
Sure.
bet you are busy because you're an actor too, right?
I am.
Tell
It's
me
only been
about that. Tell me about that. I've been dying to ask you.
it's been a couple of years, and my wife and I both got into it, and we're doing acting and modeling, and I got signed basically for both. And so now it's more of a not just being fit to do the stuff that I like doing, but it's also there's a little bit of vanity, I guess is the word that's involved.
You've
So I'm
got
working
to.
on like dropping more weight and like just getting leaner, and it's been a little challenging because you try the different nutrition things. Now they work great for my clients, but then again, as much as I have cycled through different stuff, I think I've kind of screwed up my metabolism for
Oh,
for a while. So currently, the ketogenic stuff works a little bit better for me,
uh-huh,
cutting out the carbs. And I think I've heard you say you're pre-diabetic, and I am
uh-huh.
too. So I really need to cut back on the sugars and stuff like that. So, and as far as the acting goes, basically, there's been a lot of different fun stuff that I've gotten to um, just be on, and it's still a very young journey. So they
You
say it
just
takes about
started
10
that
years.
part.
Right. So it takes about 10 years to make a name for yourself. So
Oh,
it'll
that's
be
exciting. We're going to be
it'll
able
be
to say
fun.
we had him on the show back when.
Well, thank you.
No, that's fantastic. That's so fun. You'll have to put links to any commercials or anything that you've done.
Well, keep
Um,
me in prayer because there are a couple of really big, exciting opportunities just right around the corner. So
I
if it
am.
happens, it could happen this
Um,
month, and it could be in a different country doing something. So it's pretty neat.
Everybody out there, keep Mickey in prayer because when you get it, you're going to have to tag all of us on Facebook.
Sounds good.
You have like 2,000 people that are going to listen to this in about the next 24 hours, and you have to tag all of us.
Okay.
No, really, that's great. I'm super excited for you. Even just the opportunity to
That's
try
right.
out for something like that.
That's completely, a few years ago, I would have never thought that I'd be getting paid to do modeling things or acting things, and it's becoming a reality. So,
Isn't that
it's
fantastic?
just, it's pretty cool.
Okay,
I'm
so
just,
I'm curious then. Okay, so let me see if I've got it right. You, for the last 7 years or so, that's been your profession, and you're effective at helping people take a look at their training and getting stronger and having strength, and people are losing weight working with you. But okay, do you mind me asking how old you are?
38.
Okay, 38. Okay, so you're not 28 anymore, you're not 18 anymore, 38's still super young. But there's something about those 30s that what you used to do, it just isn't, it's like you hit a wall or something.
I don't
And
know
you
about you,
really
but I'm getting younger each year. That's the way I look at it.
I know.
I'm
I'm
better
not
than the year
talking
before.
about attitude. I'm not talking about attitude or looks. You don't look like you're 15, I know. But I'm talking about the whole thing. Like we were emailing about, okay, so now there's new science out there.
Hmm.
Now there's, I mean, who wants to waste their time if we start learning that what time of day you're supposed to eat your carbs matters or
Right.
some craziness like that? I don't, we keep hearing the gurus giggle and chuckle that we're trying to get so geeky about it, but who wants to waste their time doing something that isn't what is the most effective thing? Are you finding that you're changing the way that you're eating by these podcasts that you say you're listening to?
I actually am. Yes, I'm trying out the intermittent fasting, and so basically, just in the mornings, I'm just skipping the breakfast part and just having coffee, or and since recently, because of these two big opportunities, for the next few weeks, I've switched back to the ketogenic, just because I know that it'll get some extra weight off of me pretty fast, and at the same time, um, let's see. The coffee, basically, I'll add in a little bit of heavy cream or
Really?
coconut oil sometimes, but I need to listen to the recent ones. I think I'm a couple of weeks or a few weeks behind, and I think I heard yours recently that said something about heavy cream being more what's the right word? Let's see, better
That your
than.
body absorbs it better or
Yeah,
something.
that's right. That's right. So
Well, we heard Kiefer say that, and
okay.
I do, like you and I were talking about how we're trying to listen. Didn't you find our show because you were following him?
I had come across him on a different podcast
Hmm.
called Road to Ripped, and then from there I just kind of did research, like just tried to find wherever else I could find him on, and
Yeah.
just listened to a whole bunch of different ones, and I got a copy of the carb backloading book, so
Oh, did you?
and I'm gotten about a little bit through it. I haven't finished it yet, so
Does it make
uh,
sense to you? Carb
uh,
backloading by John Kiefer?
there is quite a bit of different stuff, interesting, different.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to pick my words carefully because it's not what we're used to. It's different, and it's so
Counterintuitive.
okay. There's the word.
Yeah.
English is not my first language, so
Oh, really? Because you
that's
speak
cool.
great English.
Oh, thank you.
Uh-huh.
So yeah. Well, I'll read it and I'll apply it and I'll try it
Right?
and use myself as that experiment, kind of like how Mr. Jimmy Moore does, because I follow a lot of his stuff too. So,
That's
and he's a
great. We're
great guy.
big
I've gotten to
Jimmy
meet up
Moore
with him,
fans.
and yeah, he's definitely been a very big inspiration uh, because I was like, man, he's really going all out and doing this, and
I
have a
know.
lot of respect for him.
A
Mm,
lot of respect, and he's putting it out there for the world, whether he loses, gains, or whatever, because he just keeps learning,
right,
and he's just super honest about his journey and what he's trying, and he's so awesome. We got to meet him at Paleo FX. Lisa, a gal that I went with, Lisa Jarman, and all
right,
of
right.
it. It was I mean, Jimmy was one of the highlights, of course, of it. I'm also going to link to a show we did with a guy named Chris Tinder, because Chris wrote me a while back, and I know you probably know by now, Mickey, if you've listened to one or two, this show is not your source for the
Right,
latest science. We are your source for motivation, my friend. And we will point you to people who are the source for the science. I
that's
mean,
right.
that's because we're trying not to pretend to be the experts. We're just a bunch of people trying a lot of different things that and then we kind of report out what, this works for me. Maybe you want to try it or look into
Right.
it. And so Chris had written me about probably like this time last year, and he said he asked me to do a show on intermittent fasting, to bring on an expert. That's whenever we are a show about information, it's when an
Mhm.
expert comes on this show. Like John Kiefer came on this show and Jimmy Moore
Right.
came on this show, right? So Chris asked, and I tried to find somebody, and I just couldn't find anybody. And then Chris and I talked about it again. Well, by the time I think it was around November, Chris became the expert on intermittent
Oh man,
fasting
nice.
because he was trying it that whole time, and maybe not like a professional trainer or a nutritionist or anything, but he had 6 months of journey or so, or maybe longer, where he had had so much success, and he was just talking about what works for him.
Right.
And I was like, well, just come on and talk about what works for you, and
Uh,
we'll tell people you're not an expert. But I took a lot of what I learned from his journey and just tried some things out.
mhm.
I mean, that's what I was hoping. I was hoping to distill down for people today. Is
Right.
that here's Mickey. You're a trainer. You've been in the profession for many years. When did you start listening to podcasts?
Maybe about a couple of years ago, about a
Okay.
year and a half or 2 years ago, and it was specifically just Jimmy Moore's for a while, and
Oh,
just because he's got so much information, it's
right.
so many doctors that come on there and speak, and also actually the Fitcast was another big one that I used to listen to quite a bit.
Oh, I
Um,
don't know that one. The Fitcast?
yeah, it's got quite a few awesome people on that one as well. So, but one thing that I learned over the few years is not to try to just tell my clients, hey, look, give them a sheet of paper that we, download or whatever, or I point them to different things. I'm like, okay, you know what? There's this, that, this, let's try, see what works best for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I send them videos. Like I send them different links to videos, kind of like, different podcasts or whatever, or I'll send them. One of the first ones that I usually send people is that the YouTube video, Sugar, The Bitter Truth, or whatever it is,
Ah,
it has like 4.5 million views. And so, I mean, just the basic things like, okay, well, maybe juice isn't really helping me as much as,
thank you.
and so just things like that. Or the habit video, which is, it's really cool. Dougal, I think, let me think. Actually,
I'm just
I
putting
got it.
something in the show notes so we can look it up later.
Yeah, it's I believe it's John Dougal, but I'm not.
Okay.
I can't remember right now. But it's about he talks about habits, and I just recently saw that one again, and he talks about logging our food into like MyFitnessPal
Right.
is one of the keystone habits, and
Yes.
so which changes other habits, which in a positive way. So, and I thought that was really really cool. So I'm making my MyFitnessPal thing a habit. Even though for the longest time I was like, okay, well maybe I'm not so worried about the calorie intake, but now I'm rethinking it. Just listening.
Yeah.
Okay, well, still need to know, okay, well, is it 6,000 calories? Is it 10,000 calories? Is it 2,000 calories or
Right.
800? So it does somewhere or another make a difference. So,
That's what I loved your honesty when we were emailing that, hey, I'm a trainer and I'm pretty good at this with people, but I'm trying to learn some about, specifically you and I were talking about carb night and carb backloading,
right,
and how overwhelming it can be when you have now today so many sources of information.
Right.
So
And
I love that you do that for your clients, that you have a few keystone, like basic foundational things that you're going to help educate them on.
right,
Sugar, probably real food is in there, and
right,
how to build good
definitely.
habits.
And
Right?
and like Trader Joe's and Earth Fare are what we have around here, and sometimes I'll get them gift cards, or I'll just
Oh,
get
that's
them a
nice.
bottle of coconut oil or something like that. I'm like, okay, just start adding a little bit of this into your diet if you want, just something like that.
Well,
And but the
it's
hardest is like mom and dad trying to get them to try
no.
some of the stuff that I'm learning, and they're like, no, we like our Indian food, or we
Your
like,
own mom and dad.
yeah.
That's great.
It's
That's great. No, I'm sorry. My parents, no, my mom has kind of gotten on board because she is diabetic, and there's just too many things about what I'm learning that if she tries it, it makes a big difference. And
right,
so, but it's hard to get mom to try stuff because she works in a hospital, one of the most renowned hospitals in the country, around a lot of experts, and these are very smart people, but they're advising whole wheat as
right.
opposed to you know and brown rice as opposed to white rice. And then my mom's confused as to why her blood sugar still goes through the roof.
Mhm,
Now, at her hospital, I was super psyched because they had a nutrition boot camp for the employees,
mhm.
and that nutritionist that came in really was talking about how even brown rice, even whole wheat, that kind of stuff will, you know, spike your insulin if you're
Right.
very sensitive and stuff like that. So I was super, I was very encouraged that it's not like we think that nobody knows about this stuff. I mean, but it takes a long time because I think the recommendations are still a lot of
Yeah.
whole grains,
Right.
and I guess whole grains are better than not whole grains, but being pre-diabetic, that's
Right.
not going to be our best bet.
And I learned a lot about 5 years ago. Yeah, it's 5 years ago when my wife and I got married. So she has celiacs. So for
Oh, so
her, she can't have it anyways.
it's a
So
gluten. The celiac is a
exactly.
highly sensitive to gluten, right?
Right. So wheat products are out.
Wow.
So it did help me make the transition quite a bit. Now and then I will be frankly honest, I will have a pizza and I will love it and I will eat it and it's all good. But but
That's great.
like for her, actually gluten-free pizzas. Now we found a good thing for that. So
Oh, that's
Woody's
pretty
brand
cool.
or whatever, she loves it and she's good with that and it's good.
That's awesome. That's really great. So, what would you suggest, Nikki? I mean, you're a professional, and I'm trying to kind of speak to everybody on the spectrum, people who are just tuning in for the first time, and they probably don't know where to start. Or, I mean, I had somebody email me the other day that was just like, I've tried everything, and I'm just broken. My scale won't budge. Well, her everything was, Weight Watchers and starvation mode, cutting her calories way down. And, a lot of things that, yeah, you might have tried everything, but not really everything. You've tried
Right.
some things that the media are saying are
Right.
your best bet. So
Right.
that's super overwhelming for someone. I think everything that you're hearing now is overwhelming. And even because if it's overwhelming for you as a personal trainer,
Yeah.
what would you suggest people do? Like, we have all this free information out there, but it can be like not worth bothering.
Um, One thing that I would, if somebody really is struggling with this, and I'm not a doctor, so I don't, I would just say, this is coming from me, so take it how you want. But I would probably suggest, okay, let's just cut out a few things that can cause inflammation in the body. So maybe let's just try that, and for like 3 or 4 weeks, I want you to try to eliminate some of these things, whether it's the gluten, whether it's dairy, whether it's soy, whether it's corn, whether it's sugar, and let's just cut those things out completely, and then you add one thing back in. And even
Right,
eggs is an inflammation for some people. So you can try that in 3 weeks. Let's just add one thing in. If it bothers you, if it gives you any kind of what's the word, gastrointestinal whatever stress,
Disturbance, right.
disturbance um, and other issues. I mean, they'll know that, okay, well,
Yeah.
this kind of messed me up. That's not a good idea. So maybe just keep that out. And actually, that's helped with one of my clients' moms. I mean, she even tried that exact thing, and she's feeling. And she always tells her daughter, tell me that she's loving it, that she's cut out a couple things that she had in her diet. And so just another little success story off of a client. So it's like,
Right.
so,
So what I'm
um,
hearing you say, and I think well, I'm just a huge advocate of this too, is first of all, I think it takes a lot of patience. And I think that's what a lot of us lack
right.
because we live in a world of immediate gratification.
Hmm.
I have a phone in my hand that will give me anything I need, and even the little lady in it will be my friend. Siri will tell me what whatever I
Right.
need, and I can have a pizza here in 5 minutes, and I can have everything at the touch of a button now. Really, not
Mhm.
everything, but you know what I mean. We're a very instant gratification society now.
Right.
So to tell me that I want you to try this for 3 weeks when the TV late at night says all I need is 7 days if I buy these pills. You
Right.
know, you
Right.
know, it
Well,
that's
maybe you should buy
appealing.
those pills and do that for
Yeah.
3 weeks. And if it doesn't work, then we'll come back to let's talk
But
about.
that's what I need. I think I need the 3 weeks. I think I need, especially being a lady. I know I keep harping on this, but it's kind of the same thing for guys. The older you get, the less quickly your body is going to respond to things. And, because guys lose testosterone and everything, just like,
Right.
maybe not at the rate and the crazy roller coaster that ladies have, but as you get older, things change. And
Mhm.
so this is what I've had the hardest time with is somebody telling me, try this for 3 weeks. That's exactly what I need to do. That is exactly what I need to do. Pick one thing and don't make a judgment after 1 week and say this isn't working. That's what I always used to do. But I need to go 3 weeks, especially being a gal, because after 3 or 4 weeks, then I've gone through a whole rotation of crazy hormones of a month. Then I can make a better, you know,
Right.
decision of with if this is working. And that's a hard thing because I know if it's not working, I've got to try something else. And there's another 3 weeks.
So you know what? It is a lifestyle journey. I mean, it is a
It
journey.
is
It's
a
and
journey.
so really, unless you've got something very, very specific that you're trying to get ready for, I mean, that's the only times I think these more radical approaches
Right.
might be necessary. Otherwise, you know, log it, try it, and see how you feel.
Right.
Write it down, or even take pictures of your food. If you don't want to write it down and you don't have the time to do that right away, take a picture of it, and then later on you can go back through and put that in. And that's an easy way of or some people even start blogs of all their food. Or
So true. So true. I really believe in the power of that, whether you really think calorie counting matters or not. That awareness of what
right,
you're eating is,
right.
I think, big.
I think that's really helped me kind of see too. And if I really want something bad enough, I'll have it. I just don't
Right.
want the guilt associated with it
Right.
anymore. So for the longest time, yeah, I did have like I was like, no, I shouldn't be eating this. No, but it's just kind of like setting myself up because I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, but if I really want it, I'm gonna enjoy it and not feel guilty about it. And that's one of the biggest things I think this year has been. Uh, right word. Revelation for me, I guess, is just enjoy it and don't attach guilt with it. Just
Yeah,
and
isn't
then
it?
get back on your program. Give it 100% as far as the working out, or whatever it is that you enjoy. If it's not working out, then like for my wife, she could care less about going to the gym with me or working out. But she loves karate. She just recently started like martial arts, so and that's fun for her. I'm like, go for it, enjoy it.
I think that's
So
fantastic. I think
yeah.
that's fantastic because it, I even, we talk about these Fitbits. This is mine here.
Oh yeah,
I'm
that's
showing.
awesome.
Yeah. And I don't know. There's a lot of people that say, hey, calories in, calories out. Don't count how many steps or how many calories you've burned today because it shouldn't be about that. But I think they're discounting the fact that this little motivator has me moving all day long and a little bit more all day long. And if I can't get to the gym, like your wife, if she didn't really want to go to the gym, the karate might be more fun. And she might see after the karate, oh my gosh, look how much I moved. Or I can't get to karate today, but today was a day that I was, walking, so I'm cool. I'm good.
Right. And I really like that, like the up band also tracks your sleep as well.
This does too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, why
and I was
do I
thinking
want
the heart
that?
rate is the only thing that it's missing. I think
I
everything else
know.
is there. So
Why do I want to track my sleep? If I know I'm going to bed at 11 and I'm waking up at 6, and so I got 7 hours sleep, or 10 to 6, so I got 8.
You're lucky.
No, I don't get that much sleep. But why do I need it to track it overnight? I never understood that.
Well, it also lets you know how many times you're actually waking up and how much deep quality, is it REM sleep that they call it?
I know that's important, but how do I increase that?
Well,
foods
I think one of the biggest thing that I think Rob Wolf says is just to have the room completely dark and not have any kind of light and whatever. And
that blue light I'm not supposed to have at night, or I am, or something. I saw you put his sports nutrition consultant.
Basically, I just went to his
nutrition seminar.
Right. It was just the nutrition seminar that I went to, and I got to meet him. And but I follow a lot of his stuff that he does, and I think he's a great guy and doing a lot of good work for just educating people, and one of the guys that I respect. So
yeah, I got to.
There are a lot of guys in this industry and girls that that are just awesome and just killing it. So.
I know, well, that's me and you, Mickey.
We're gonna. I don't think.
In this whole community of people.
You are doing good. You've got it. You're doing it. So
we're having a blast. We're having a blast. What I would like to know is if you're doing Tough Mudder with us next month.
No, ma'am. How's that?
Well, you didn't take long to answer that. I want you to know that we're doing more of a Puff Mudder. That's what John Kiefer called it. When I said, no, don't worry about us. We walk a lot, and sometimes we don't do the obstacles. He was like, well, that's not a Tough Mudder. That's a Puff Mudder. And so, but we are. There's some guys on another show called Talking Lead, and another show called We Like Shooting. And I think Jared Markle from Student of the Gun. So there's a bunch of gun guys. So we're the gun runners. Cool. And then a bunch of listeners that are part of the community that have been for a while. And right now we're in the process of getting our T-shirts printed and all that. You should do it with us. How far is Nashville from Athens, George?
4.5, maybe 5 hours.
Oh, you got it. Come on.
I do, but I'm hoping to book these 2 jobs.
Okay, that's your only excuse. That will be your only excuse. All right, so let's make sure that I keep straying from our objective. That's what we tell teachers not to do. You had an objective, you had a lesson, but you ended up way over there talking about dinosaurs or something. So we were wanting to talk about for people who are overwhelmed. I like your advice. Try to narrow it. Of course, there's a million things you could do.
Right.
And you're different from the person that you grew up with in your house with the same genes, your twin sister. I mean, you're different. So something that works for me might not work for you. So you need to try something. But you think the tracking of that thing is important, right?
That would really be, I think it would be very helpful.
Ideal, right?
So,
how are you going to know? Even tracking how you feel.
Right.
Maybe not the scale is our only measure.
That's right. How the clothes fit and how you look in the mirror and things like that, yeah.
Okay. So you've got some gurus that you go to. You've already mentioned Rob Wolf and Jimmy Moore. Is there anybody else? Because I'll tell mine. But I remember being super overwhelmed and then having to dial it down and go, okay, I'm not listening to every podcast I can find. I'm going to listen to this guy, and he's got great guests. So I'm going to try to at least stick with him for a while. Who are your real go-to people that you listen to?
Well, recently, I'm going to say, I definitely, John Kiefer stuff, I'm looking that up quite a bit. And
absolutely.
Trying to figure that out. And So I kind of get on one for a while, and then
Yeah,
I switch back, and then I try, So I'm just trying to constantly learn. But when you listen to one and then you go to another, and then it's like the contradiction. I'm like, maybe I just need to listen to this for a little while and just kind of see what
exactly.
they're saying and understand that a little bit better before I switch to something different. But Road to Ripped is another one that I've been
Road
listening
to
to, and
Ripped.
yeah.
Cool.
Um, and actually, the Body I/O is that John Kiefer one, I believe. And let me see, I'll look it up real quick on
I
Fat Burning
can.
Man. That's another one.
Oh,
Abel
Abel
James.
James.
Um, the
Okay,
other one
I
is
have a
Ben
confession.
Greenfield Fitness.
What is
That's
it?
Ben Greenfield.
Oh yeah,
The Fitcast is still in there.
I put that in there.
And then uh, Bulletproof Executive Radio.
Okay,
Uh,
now you're
the,
overwhelming us.
the Live and La Vida Low Carb Show. Ask the Low Carb
That's Jimmy
Experts.
Moore.
Those are, yeah,
That's
that's the Jimmy
Jimmy
Moore
Moore.
stuff. And
Okay,
then
I want to tell you real
yeah,
quick. The Body IO, Kiefer's already been on this show, so I'll put the link to that. And
okay,
then Abel James was first, one of the first interviews I did. It wasn't the first, but I don't know. He was one of the first people I interviewed, so I'll put a link to our show with Abel.
okay,
Ben Greenfield is supposed to be on our show next month.
cool,
Rob Wolf said he was going to do the show. I'm
nice.
calling him out right now publicly because
Okay,
he and I've emailed a couple of times, and we just don't have the same kind of schedule at all. But I think I'm going to take a day off work or something.
there you go.
So, I mean, that's the thing is it can get overwhelming. And all these guys have such amazing information.
Right,
And absolutely, I would agree with Jimmy Moore, like you said, all of this. But somebody like Abel James or Jonathan Baylor of the Calorie Myth, they have a lot of different guests on. And like you
right,
said, you could start following and then follow another one, follow another one, follow another one, and
exactly.
kind of get overwhelmed.
Right,
I remember when I heard about safe starches, and I mean, I was just gonna freak out because I was like, "What starches? What are safe?" And blah, blah, blah. You know, just get freaked out. So I think you're. I'm gonna put a link to all of these, but I still love your original. Try one thing. If you have a long commute, or if you have time to listen to a bunch of different podcasts, but
yeah,
just kind of take it with a grain of salt. The great thing of because I've listened to all these people you've mentioned so far,
right,
except Road to Ripped, so I'm gonna and Fitcast, so I'm gonna go listen to them. But everybody seems to have a basic underlying message um, that it is about the quality of your food.
right,
I mean, even with some people that are saying, it's not really high quality, it just is low carb and this and that. It's I think that one of the big things that I've heard everybody say is that different kinds of foods, and I'm talking about fat versus protein versus carbohydrates,
right.
they just do something different.
The macaron, yeah,
Yeah, and
right.
not everybody, many people in my real world don't have that lens. And I'm surprised by that, but then I'm not because this is our virtual world. Our virtual world, there's a bunch of like-minded people. I know what you mean when you say high fat, low carb, and moderate protein. But people that I work with are like, "What are you even talking about?"
Hmm.
So that's a real interesting thing for me is that when you start listening to these shows, most of these guys circle back around for the new listener and will say, "Okay, but sometimes not because they get very they assume the listener might be a little further down the line, but most of them have like a 101, paleo. You can go to Rob Wolf's site or Abel's site or anybody's, and like here's this 101.
Right.
So I like that, but I wanted to mention a couple of documentaries very early on in my
Hmm.
journey that I'm putting a link in the show notes. Oh, I'm going to say the show notes today are at the number 2fithhq.com/091. I'm pretty sure. If it's not, I'm going to go back and edit that. But I'm pretty sure this is going to be episode 91. So if it is, it's fat2fithhq.com/091, and that's where you can get all these show notes and even a link to the video that we're doing. But there are two documentaries, and I don't know if you've seen these, that I think somebody who's starting out, or even if you aren't starting out, that you could go back and watch that would be a really good refresher. And one of them is called Fathead. Have you seen Fathead?
I have, yes.
Did you like?
I can't
What
remember
did
the
you think
guy's
about
name,
that?
but that was Naughton, maybe. I
Yeah,
can't remember.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. His
it
name is
was
Naughton. Yes, exactly. And I loved that because I had watched Super Size Me
right.
and watched that guy on that documentary Super
Saw
Size.
that one too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and all he ate was McDonald's for 30
right,
days, and he got so sick and he gained so much weight, and the whole
right,
country was like, "Yes, McDonald's is evil." But then Naughton comes along and does like a same kind of video.
right.
He ate McDonald's for 30 days, but he pointed out that he was going to pay attention to carbs. I mean,
Right.
he learned that at the beginning of the
Hmm.
video was I'm going to pay attention to how many carbs, how much protein, and how much. It's not like he cut out carbs.
Right.
He just limited it each day. So sometimes he could have the bun and sometimes not. And he ate nothing but McDonald's for 30 days and he lost a bunch of weight and he got really healthy. Why
Yeah.
do you think that was? What do you remember from that show?
Well, I guess the takeaway point from that is that it's not just what, like you said, the carbs. Carbs is going to create an insulin response. So basically, what's that food doing to your body, or how's it
Right.
affecting your body? So depending on your goals and depending on whether you're sedentary or have a very active lifestyle, depends on what you can get away with. So, um,
Exactly.
but
And
if
then sensitivity, right?
right,
Because I've got some friends who they just, they're a little less sensitive to carbs or to anything, to
right,
amount of food or different foods. They just process it faster. It doesn't hang around. The younger me was not as sensitive to all this stuff. So hormones play a part. I think it's all about the hormones, I think. But I'm not a
right.
nutritionist, but in my own
Um,
experimentation.
Actually, at this moment, I cannot think of anything that I can say to that. That's just being honest.
No, I mean seriously, the whole I know, but if you're talking about the show, I think you're dead on, is that your body, no, it's what does your body do with certain foods,
Right,
right? So
right,
not how many calories,
right,
that's important.
right,
I think that's just my opinion. How many calories is important, but it is not what's going to get me where I want to be and keep me where I want to be, because that'll work
right,
for a little while, but then your
right,
body is going to respond in a certain way, and that's not going to work anymore. And actually, for me, I'm in a worse place. If I starve myself for a while, I hit my pant size goal, and then I even try to I can't keep, even at a low calorie, I can't keep that weight off. So that's a bummer.
mhm,
After all
yeah,
that work, that you become so sensitive to calories that no matter what you do, it's coming back on. So I loved that movie because they have a cute little cartoon in the middle of it that when you eat too many carbohydrates, like in the form of whatever, vegetables, we're not really talking about vegetables and stuff because it has enough fiber that it kind of
right,
offsets it.
mhm,
But the processed carbs and stuff like that, that insulin spike, it shows at the cellular level how it blocks fat burning and stuff. It's very easy to understand.
I'll have to go back through and watch it again.
Oh, you have to. You have to, because if you're giving little video
Yeah,
clips to
yeah,
it's probably on YouTube. I know it's a free video. You can watch it. I'm putting a link for the free
right,
video. But that little cartoonish part in the middle where they even talk about Gary Tubbs in that video,
hmm,
and he wrote Why We Get Fat, and it's just
right.
really really great for the layman, for the basic person that really just wants a place to start. That video, and then there's a documentary called Food Matters. Do you remember that?
Um, I think it talked about raw foods and stuff like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, there's that raw
Yeah,
food guy, that
yeah,
curly
yeah,
hair
yeah, yeah.
guy.
I remember that.
Everybody
I don't know.
remembers
It's
him.
been a while since I've seen that one. But
Well,
also there was another one that came out around the same time that also changed the way I thought about food too. I
yeah.
think it was well, there was one forks over knives, and there was one
Yes.
also about the juicing, and I can't remember what that one
Oh,
is.
I know who you're talking about because
Yeah,
we love Joe Cross.
yeah,
And
that's right.
Joe Cross is the Australian guy that He
Right.
did Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, and
Of
I actually
course,
tried
that's
that
it.
for a little while too, and it's like, man, definitely you can lose some weight, but it wasn't doable for me personally. Like to get up at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, make that juice and clean that thing up too at the same time, like because you don't want that to be dirty the whole day. So
That
and then
juicer
head out the
is.
door to go train people and whatnot. It's just like, nah, that's just
If I could juice without having to actually juice the stuff,
yeah.
it'd be fine. But it's a big mess. But I do love that too. We're gonna have to link to so many things. Look, we're making an overwhelming show about
Uh-oh.
how not to get overwhelmed.
Well, it's just the different things that we've tried. I mean, it's there's a lot.
Crazy.
There's a lot that I'm not saying that we've tried everything. I'm just saying
A
we've
lot.
experimented a lot on ourselves, I guess. And
But again, the underlying message, because I don't juice anymore. I even had a
right,
juicing community, and we were juicing every quarter because
right,
I didn't care what anybody told me about
yeah,
sugars.
right,
Juicing worked for me. It
yeah,
always worked for me. For that week, I would feel like a rock star. I would drop some water weight. I'd even drop a couple of extra pounds on that, and it was
right,
just wonderful. But now I don't do that anymore because I feel like I don't need that cleanse because of the way I'm eating. It just doesn't feel like,
right.
oh my gosh, I'm due for a cleanse, I don't know. And I don't want to, I really started enjoying the ketogenic feeling
Hmm.
that the juicing just kind of throws that whole thing off. But what I super respect about what I learned from the juicing was everybody who did it with me, and a lot of people. There's a guy named Dion Denton who's a community member who, I mean, he just did it because I challenged him to do it, and
Nice.
Dion will do whatever for a
Nice.
challenge. He was like getting his friends juicing and all this stuff because I think a lot of people, like at my work that tried it, people are willing to try something like that because they see, oh, in a week you're going to feel great. And depending on what they were doing before, that to me is the key. The juicing, the food matters, the fathead documentary, again, the underlying message on a lot of those is, okay, we're going to real food from what we were eating, which might
Right,
have been a lot of not real food. Maybe not fathead. Fathead was more about your macronutrients, right? Because he was eating at
right,
McDonald's.
right.
But most of these other documentaries and things are just kind of just educating us about what happens when you put food in your body. How does your body respond to it? And
Hmm.
if you're eating a lot of, you're just mindlessly, if you're just mindlessly picking up convenience foods,
Hmm.
sure, that guy's going to gain a bunch of weight at McDonald's, the one that did Supersize Me, because the food they serve you, if you're just ordering the meal, is a ton of processed carbs, and that the carbs, like we've heard John Kiefer say, it's really the elephant in the room. It is the carb.
And from what he's talking about, from what I've understood, is just eat the carbs at night. He's like, just do it and after your workout, you are free to eat carbs. But I think he's also saying, not just to go crazy with it
Right,
every night because
right.
that's still not good. Like you can still do your carbs, but they can be, I think, for the most part, cleaner but still high glycemic. But
Uh-huh.
like he talks about the cherry turnovers or whatever else. But like I don't think if people started doing the cherry turnovers every night, that's or 3 or 4 of them or whatever, then
Yeah, are
that's
you
not a good
working out
idea.
enough to offset those dairy turnovers?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
that's why I haven't looked into the carb backloading. I don't think that I am a hard enough workout kind of person. I don't know because I haven't really looked into carb backloading enough, but I know that I can be a carb night person. And that is just, I'm not going to eat them at night. I'm not going to eat them all week. I'm going to keep it ultra low carb. And then, because I like the way I feel when I eat that way.
right, right.
But yeah, if I miss anything, I'm not going to have that guilt you were talking about earlier because I'm supposed to have some on Saturday around 4.
Nice. And you're doing the Tough Mudder when now? Is
See, you're going to come if you don't get those jobs. Is that it?
maybe I'll come and just hang out.
We have team members that are just spectators for
Nice.
sure. What a great meetup it's going to be.
Right.
It's on June 7th. It's
Okay.
on June 7th. So by the time this podcast comes out, man, it's just going to be a couple weeks away. And it's in Nashville. It's on Saturday, and it's going to be. It's people are coming from all over the country, and so a lot of us are meeting in real life for the first time.
Yeah,
We've
that's
been,
great.
it's so much fun. That's one of the things I love about this community is many of us now have been friends, online friends. You know, if you don't
Right.
have, I have wonderful people in my real world, but some people just don't want to hear any more about diet and nutrition.
Health, health stuff, huh? They don't
What
want to
about
hear.
you? What is your real world like? Like you're saying, your wife doesn't want to hear anything about going to the gym, but she wants
No,
to run.
she's I mean, she's great. We just, as far as the gym is concerned, she's not excited about any of that stuff. So that's okay. Or
Yeah,
even my podcast, she's like, okay, you can listen to them, and
I know.
yeah,
I keep trying to get my husband to listen to podcasts that would really be, I think he would be interested in, and you just see him glaze over his eyes like, stop it, I'm not
yeah.
interested.
But she can talk to me about finance and different things about the financial industry, and I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Well, that's what's so great about this community is, I mean, or any community. And maybe you get a group together on MyFitnessPal or on Spark People. We're always trying to invite more people because you can never have too many positive influences.
That's true. Yeah.
And so that's what's been super fun about it is having folks when you need somebody like I'm gonna throw Jack Templin under the bus here for a second. He's doing Tough Mudder with us, and he
Nice.
did a show with us, and Jack's lost like 100 pounds. He's just
Yeah.
amazing, 70, 80 pounds. He went to Spain with his wife. And he came back like yesterday and he just put it out there on MyFitnessPal. Listen, I need help. I indulged for a week and I gained back 10 pounds, which we know some of that is
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
But would you
That's
really, I mean, it's so great, all the feedback that he's getting, you know. Of course, you should indulge when you're in Spain.
right.
Can you not?
On vacation.
Yeah, you would regret it if you didn't. But there's still the reality that you have some weight that you didn't have before. So everybody's throwing ideas out there. It's really pretty awesome.
It is good, and even on MyFitnessPal, I'm actually part of a group which is really cool that they're keeping each other accountable and just to log in each day,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
great. So,
It's
and
been
also
wonderful.
like I guess for my community is mostly the clients, and as far as fitness and health is concerned, and
Yes.
so we talk about these different videos sometimes, and we talk about what okay, well maybe this diet plan or what is not specifically working for you, well, let's look at what else could work.
Well, see, I love that
Yeah,
because your passion is coming through, and that's what I'm sure one of the main things that's working for your clients because you don't know when you meet them what's
right,
going to work for them, and they don't
right,
know.
right.
So then your biggest job is let me keep you in the game.
Yeah,
How long can I keep you in the game trying something?
right. And getting them to write it down too. Let me just see. Okay, what are you eating? What are you eating for breakfast? What are you eating for lunch? What are you eating for dinner? Okay, and where are the snacks? Okay,
I
so
know
what about
the
when you're
honesty.
what about when you're in your workplace and somebody brings stuff, or what about that candy that's sitting in your workplace? And what about, the wine that you have on wine night
I
or,
know.
they have all these different things they're that's life. It's going on. And so okay,
That's
but it's
okay.
the mindless things here and there
Uh-huh.
sometimes that can get us in trouble. So, but just once they start realizing, oh yeah, well, maybe I shouldn't have that Twinkie at 10 o'clock every day, or maybe or so
I
it's
think I think we've hit it though. I really think we've hit it. I mean I do. And my friends talk about this, my like-minded friends in trying to get fit or stay fit or
right,
get a little fit or whatever. We really feel like if you find what's going to keep you in the game, motivated,
right,
all these things something will eventually work, or worst case scenario, you learned something that didn't.
right,
But your whole thing about writing it down and encouraging them, and you're the one helping them navigate, you're the coach in all of this.
hmm
That's so nice. Andrea Jingle was on the show not too long ago, who works with Kiefer, and she
right,
had a lot of that coaching thing, how valuable it is to have a coach because you, Mickey, will take that off my plate. This
right,
is very overwhelming. All of this is overwhelming. So to have you alongside of me going, okay, let's just start writing it down. And then that is motivating for me because I know you're going to look at the end of the week. So I do think surrounding yourself with a positive community,
Right.
virtual or real, and then finding if it's not you, if you're not going to be super geeky about trying to learn everything you can learn, hire somebody like Micky to do it for you.
Thanks. And I actually hire other people and work with a lot of people just so that I'm constantly learning. And
Excellent.
it's been great. I've gotten to work with some pretty amazing trainers and just health professionals. I mean, it's good.
There's
And
too much new information and new science to not
right.
do that.
And I just started today actually is taking specifically sport massage classes.
Wow.
So I mean, this way, if somebody has an issue with their shoulder or frozen
Yes.
shoulder or something like that, I can figure out the trigger points and figure out, okay, what can I do to help them feel better or work around something, or
That's fantastic.
necessarily not just work around it, but just get better. So,
Well, look at your list of accolades. My goodness. I'm going to put all this in the show notes, but all your certifications and all your education, you've done, I can't even read them all because you've got your degree, then you've got your mentorships, and then you've got your certifications, and then your consultant things. And I mean, it's great. You're like, you love learning, obviously.
I do. Yeah, actually, it's great. Just there's so much information out here for free. It's like, okay, do it. Take advantage of that.
But the rest of us have another, our job is we have to learn about our job. So I can't go get certified in all of that. I need a Micky sometimes to be the one, like Andrea was saying, your coach is the one that distills it down and makes it doable in your life for you.
Right.
So that I don't have to go. But a lot of our folks that listen to this show are podcast addicted and do love to listen to all the different shows. I think that is valuable also. Just like that continued learning and then taking it with a grain of salt and then trying something, logging it and seeing what works. That's it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, Micky. I think we've solved all the universe's problems. So we can say bye now because you know what? I'm at my office and I just saw that they're going to turn the alarm on. So I guess that's my cue to go. But this has been a blast. I'm going to put it out as a bonus show. Remember I told you, we're booked for guests for 3 or 4 weeks. But I'm just going to go ahead and put it out as a bonus show because I don't want it to get stale and old and we recorded this show way back in May.
Right. Well, thank you so much.
No, thank you for coming on. I know people can, I don't know if you want me to say your email over the internet. Can I do that?
Sure.
Okay, you're at alpha, ALPHA 7, alpha 7 trainer at gmail.com.
Right.
And people can follow you on Twitter.
That's right.
And I'll have those links too. I'm looking for your Twitter.
It's Actor Micky.
Oh, Actor Micky.
And it's on Instagram as well in MyFitnessPal. Same handle.
Actor Micky. And there's no E in Micky.
That's right.
M-I-C-K-Y. All right. But those links will be in our show notes. Again, it's at F2FHQ.com/091. And yeah, come and join us. Micky's joined our MyFitnessPal community. And
that's right.
We're seeing you on our Google Plus page. So, and on Facebook, right?
That's right. Micky Francis.
There you go, Micky Francis. So you guys look for him, and he's going to remember us little people when he's big and famous. Which is, man, that's like next month. I'm super excited for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, we'll keep tabs, and I really appreciate you doing the show on kind of short notice. Like, hey, okay, this is all interesting, but come do the show so we can keep talking. So we're going to put this out there, and I would love for anybody else that's listening that has any tips for new people of not getting overwhelmed to please email me at carol@fat2fithq.com so that I can add those things to our community either through another show. Oh, let me read some feedback. Goodness, we'll probably hear the alarm go off in a second.
Uh-oh.
But I do want an update on Angela Neal because about a month ago, no, it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I told people in my Fitness Pal and on Fitbit that Andrea Jangle was going to be on the show and that she knew a lot about carb backloading and carb night. And Andrea Neal is, she's a CrossFitter and she's super active and she's a standing desk and she does all this high intensity training and different things. And she said, I'm just trying to get fat adapted, and I don't know if I should do carb night or carb backloading. And then at one point she told me, I'm over it. I'm not even going to try it. It doesn't sound like it's right for me. And I said, oh, but I already put your questions in the show notes. So I did the show with Andrea, and Andrea said, for most people, I recommend carb night. I can't say for her specifically, but I recommend carb night, but do it correctly. Like really read the book. It's a $30 book, and just read the book and do it really correctly. And I'll put a link to Andrea's show, too, that she did with me. She gave Angela a little bit of, what she would tell anybody. Well, I emailed that to Angela. And by the time the show came out 2 weeks later, and Angela had already lost 6 pounds just doing carb night of fat.
Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. She was like, I am loving this. I can't believe it. Tell her advice was just spot on. She put, holy cats. Let me read her email. She wrote, Carol, I just wanted to let you know that I'm doing great on carb night so far. Tomorrow it will officially be a week, and I've already lost 6.1 pounds. 1 week. Okay. I cut back on my workouts. Now that was key, and that was hard for her. I know it. She said, I cut back on my workouts last week as well. Holy cats. I actually have to go shopping for new work clothes, size 6, as my other clothes are just hanging off of me. I'm planning on doing carb night on Saturday since we're going to a wedding. I started early just because that's how I ate on Tuesday. And then it gets into like chatty stuff about how she's like, you can look at my food journal, but it looks kind of weird right now because I don't have an appetite. And, you kind of go through that stuff. But, it's not for everybody. I have some friends who have tried it who are just like, I just don't feel right. And in my opinion, they're not trying it for long enough. Again, you might want to do like 3 weeks of something before you say, this isn't working for me.
Right.
But I just wanted to give that out there because Angela, she's a rock star. And I'm super proud of her for trying something that was out of the box for her.
Great job, Angela.
Yeah, Angela, rock on. I know. Okay, well, that's all. I'm just going to tell people that if you want to connect with us, all the links are in the show notes where you can also get in on our MyFitnessPal family. Please send any feedback from the show to success@f2FHQ.com. And, yeah, come to Facebook, come like us and be part of this because we're having a great time motivating each other. And I want to thank you, Micky, again for jumping in a month ago and being one of those people that are just encouraging other people in our group.
You're welcome, and thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Anytime, and I hope we have you back because I want to follow your carb backloading journey.
Right.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, I'm going to try to get out of here before the police come.
Okay. Good night.
Thanks again. We'll talk to you real soon.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.